Hell, Joe here. Today we're going to take a look at two-handed slinging. From early 15th century France, we have a piece of artwork that appears to depict a slinger holding a sling with two hands. Now, I'm not a historian, so I can't go into the artwork itself, although I'll put some links in the description if you want to check that out. But I am interested in the two-handed slinging. If you look at the picture, it looks like the sling is quite long and that the projectile in the pouch is also quite large. So for the testing today, I'm going to be using my giant sling, which is leather and paracord. It's about 52 inches in length or 132 centimeters. And I made up some ice blocks to throw. These are between 1,700 and 1,800 grams, or about 3¼ to 4 pounds. But I'm going to go through some different methods of holding the sling and throwing and seeing if a two-handed method does appear to be viable. Let's go. Okay, I'm not throwing at any particular target for this. I'm just going to throw them up the hill. For this first group, I'm just going to sling as I would normally, just one-handed. And I've only made 8 of these big ice blocks, so hopefully they hold together for a while. The distance on those stayed pretty accurate, or consistent, I mean. Only with that, that's just very difficult to do. That's just a lot of weight to have pulling on one arm. So especially going into the throw, it's just hard to hang on to that. But I'm going to gather those up and we'll switch over to two-handed throw. Just a note, pacing it off won't be super accurate, but that was 22 paces distance to get up to those. So for these next ones, what I'm going to do is hold the sling basically the same, but as I'm doing it, I'm going to bring my other hand in here just to help hold on and put 2 arms into the rotation. That one block, it's a little bit different shape and doesn't seem to pouch as well. I am shocked how much that helps. See, I got those way farther out there and still held pretty good consistency with the throw, but that helped so much. The distance on the short one was about the same. It was about 22 or 23 paces. The furthest one was out to 27 paces, a little over, close to 28. Okay, this next throw is going to be very different. In the image I referenced at the beginning, they show the slinger holding his hands apart from each other. And so it was thought that maybe that was actually used as a choking up on the sling, perhaps even holding the retention cord, or the release cord just in the forward hand. So I'm going to give that a try. But what I'm going to have to do is switch this sling over to a wrist loop and actually have the retention cord on my non-dominant hand. So we'll see how this goes. And a note on these first ones, I'm still going to hold the release cord in both hands. That one I don't like as well. Couple reasons. One is choking up on the sling like that, you lose a lot of cord. It's effectively just using a shorter sling. Also, that release on the hand that's kind of into the throw, that seems to have a very unclean release. I don't know if the camera picked it up, but a lot of those look like they released and almost just shot up in the air, spinning around. So I'm going to switch over. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to shorten up the release cord and only hold that in my front hand, just to show what this looks like. So in my left, I'll still hang on to the cord there, but I rolled up the release cord so it's just in my right hand. I think that one releases a little bit cleaner, but that one is so much harder to throw because you're still choked up on the sling, so it's effectively shorter. The retention cord is on your non-dominant arm, so you're dealing with it not releasing as cleanly, and you have to hold all the weight with one hand as that's rotating around. So that method I'm not a big fan of, even though it does seem to throw a little bit better than the one before it. Just on distance, the two best throws were out right about 23 paces. So that looks like that one is one of the better for throwing options for results, but definitely the hardest of all the throws I've done so far to actually do. Timer starts now. Wouldn't be different. That's so hard on the arm. I don't know if that's gonna be faster, but that is way easier. That choking up with the different chords, that's just too hard to do. So we'll see. That timer should still be there, from even though it went backwards. All right, out of all those, I'd say the normal sling hold, but bringing your other hand in is some added strength to hold on and get the projectile in motion. That's a great help. Definitely effective. The other two with the choking up, I think there's just more harm than good to what that adds to the throw. Cheers. Hey guys, back out here in the cold in just short sleeves because I thought of one more throw that I want to try out. What I'm going to do is put a wrist loop on my right hand, on the normal hand, but switch it over to a wrist loop, and then hold the release cord with two hands. But let's give that a try and see if that's any different. that seems to work all right. That's not too bad. It's one thing. The first throw I did, I put the cord behind my hand and just held the release cord like this, so the retention cord didn't have any extra support on it. That was when I dropped a couple of the projectiles, because I think the pouch was just being held too wide apart. But then I switched it so it was around like this, with my right hand on both and my left hand was only on the release cord. That was the last few throws. That worked pretty well. I like that one. So that, I think, is another viable option with the wrist loop. Okay, and one more thing, we're going to move up here. I did want to try a melee hit also, because there was mention of that and I forgot to record that earlier too. And I acknowledge in advance this is probably a bad idea. I can't hit it from 2 feet. Okay, I almost killed myself, so we'll stop there. Melee hit definitely packs a punch, but like I'd seen in an earlier video I did on doing a melee hit, you've got one hit because there's no way the projectile is going to stay in the pouch. Cheers.